Good afternoon, YouTube. Feels good to be able to upload videos again, without being judged or laughed at or whatever else her problem was. But I'd like to touch on some things. I really never knew the real meaning of a narcissist, until I had gotten into this past relationship that I was in for 2.5 years. And a couple of my friends, and family members had come to me and said, Brent, we don't want to hurt your feelings, but we have to tell you, that this person is an absolute fake and a narcissist, and at first I was hurt by it. I was mad. I was mad at my family members, because of the fact that I just didn't see it at that time, but they did. They did. And I already apologized to them. But so I started reading more about it and looking into it and watching videos about it. And then I realized, wow, she is. She is. Person that is so self-centered, that makes everything about themselves. I mean, everything. Like, I could go to her about something that I was really hurting about, that I really, any type of story whatsoever. And if it was about me, within 1 minute or a minute and a half, she would reverse that conversation. So we would be talking about her and feeling sorry for her in some situation that happened to her in the past, which was always worse than the situation I was going through. And I started to, feel some sort of way, because I'm trying to talk about my problems with you as you do I, and we're always talking about you. Everything is about you, and you always know who the true narcissist is on the ones that just move on to their next relationship right away. I mean, instantly, within days. They're already in love with somebody else within days. I'm like, wow, and I refused to, meet anybody new. I just couldn't do it. I've had people, messaging me saying, I'm sorry for your breakup. Would you like to go out for some coffee? Would you like to go out for a few drinks? Would you like to go out for dinner? So many different messages, but I just didn't take anybody, on it because I just wasn't ready, wasn't ready whatsoever. And if I was going to do anything, I would try and fix the marriage that I was in for 20 years before I got into the relationship with the narcissist. Me and my wife, we had, some issues there towards the end, and we both tried the waters on the other side, and we both failed miserably. And there's reasons for that. So, if anything, that's what I'm going to do, is work on what I have built in the last 20 years. I'm not going to go jumping from person to person, trying to find happiness when I could have found it before if I personally would have tried harder. If I would have put a little bit more effort into the end of my marriage at that point, maybe it wouldn't have happened, and the things wouldn't have happened the way they did, and I started realizing that, when I got into a relationship with the narcissist, I started to realize a lot. I mean, a lot. I was like, wow, what in the world did I do? I just screwed up my whole life, thinking, because she told me things that nobody's ever told me before. You know what I mean? That I am somebody, that I'm worth something, you know what I mean? And that I am nobody, and that I'm, handsome, and the best thing that's ever happened to her, and, how she loves me so much, and she would do anything for me, anything for me. And she just kept telling me these nice things for months and months and months and months, and lifted me up on a pedestal, and I opened up to this person and told her things, that nobody but my wife, of course, would have known. And towards the end, when she wanted out, she started using these things against me. Saying some awful things, in return, I would say things, and then she would hit the record button on her phone and record what I was saying. But she didn't record herself or what she was saying. And of course, I'm not a psycho, so I don't record people's conversations. Like, only psychos would do something like that. You know what I mean? Like an absolute psycho. And then send it to your friends and to your workplace and things like that. And it didn't do her any good because they already knew. Because they worked with her. So they already knew, you know what I mean, that she was all about herself. All about herself. And her true colors came out at work when she, attacked a lady one day verbally. Oh my God, I feel so sorry for the woman. And I started realizing how self-centered she was, when she would like look in the mirror, you know what I mean? And she would look down at her body and she would be like, ooh, look how, she'd be like, ooh, look at me. And I would say, wow, you look good today. And she goes, yeah, right? And she'd be like, ooh, and she was so stuck on herself. And at that point, I'm like, okay, she's confident. That's great. I love confident women, But then when she'd be sitting there on the couch next to me going through her Facebook, these are her personal friends, And she's going through her Facebook and she's like, you see this woman here? I went to school with her. Look at all those wrinkles on her face. I look better than her. Or look at the wrinkles on this girl's face. Or look how heavy this girl got. Fat shaming people, some that are friends of her, some that she talks to this day. One of them helped her move out of my house, and she would sit there on the couch and she would say this about them and that about them and what they should do different about themselves and how they could fix themselves if they, didn't eat so much, or if they wouldn't be so depressed, or if they didn't smoke cigarettes or whatever. Like, she was awful. I could not believe, the way she would talk about these people behind their backs. And when I asked her about it, she got so mad, man. And that was the start of everything, really. She got really upset. And then when I called her out about the, being just about herself, then things she really got angry, and that's when she started doing spiteful things, to make me snap off, which I really didn't snap off. I wasn't yelling, I just basically said the truth and how I felt. And there was no going back. There was no working anything out. There was nothing, because once they're figured out, they know that they have no choice but to go to another guy and get that fresh love again, and she's had so many fresh loves, and I just don't want anybody else to fall for this mistake. I really don't. And now it all makes sense because it was all planned from the start, because for the first year, she never stopped texting her husband every single day, and she's like, well, I'm sorry, we're friends, and we're always going to be friends, and I felt some sort of way about it because she was texting him and funny videos and stuff. She wasn't doing that with me, right there laying next to me in the bedroom, and so that happened for about a year, and that all stopped when her ex-husband had got a girlfriend. Once he got a girlfriend, she lost her mind. And this is a year into the relationship. She was so angry, sitting there crying. What about me? Why wasn't it me? Why didn't he want me? And I'm like, I don't know why he didn't want you, but I do, and she didn't care about that. She wasn't giving me a time of day at that point. That changed everything. The minute her husband got a girlfriend, she went and she bought the money, borrowed money, and she went and she, got the divorce, and she lived under my roof, which I was sharing with her, of course. My casa, you casa, but I could use some help, and I mentioned it many a times, how behind I was on some things, you know what I mean, because I was doing everything myself, and her adult son lived with me, and they were always getting whatever they wanted, going out to eat, Amazon packages, smartphones, iPhones, video games, you just name it, they got it, and they just stood back. I shouldn't say they, I should say mostly her. She just stood back and watched me struggle, and couldn't say, here, how about I pay the mortgage this month so you don't have to struggle so much, sweetie, or anything but nothing ever like that happened, ever. And then I started realizing, like, the minute I got home from work, and I worked long hours, the minute I got home from work, I was cooking and cleaning and doing her laundry and my laundry, and it was an everyday thing. Why she just sat there on the couch. I mean, just sat there on the couch, and and watched me struggle. Didn't even offer to help, and this went on for years. And then I realized, I was getting taken advantage of, and nothing was ever going to change. And then the minute you call them out on it, again, as an explosion. But I just don't want anybody else to fall for what I fell for. If it's too good to believe, it's not true. If it's too good to be true, it's not. That's very simple. And then she's already on to her new relationship, and they're already in love. The love of my life. That's what she told me. That's what she told me. And just a month before she left, before we broke up, she was telling me, how great of a man I was, and how there was nobody out there like me. And she would, I was the best thing that ever happened to her, all until just the recent first couple of weeks before we finally cut off is when she went batshit crazy, when I figured it out, that she was a true narcissist. And I just don't want anybody else to fall for that. I really don't. It hurts. Now, thank God, you know what I mean, that I'm over that now. I have moved on from that. But something deep inside of me doesn't want others to go through what I went through, because I know how much it hurt. And if I could do anything to help anybody not make the same mistake that I did, I'm going to continue to make these videos. So until then, I have so much more to talk about, and I would love any type of insight whatsoever on what you guys might have went through, or if anybody else ever went through this type of relationship, and what the effects of it was. That would be great to know. But love you so, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.